How strong is a sperm whale compared to other whales? You can't even fathom the size of a whale. It's almost unbelievable that giants this big exist alongside us. The beasts of the seas aren't just large, with their size comes power. One whale known to be quite strong is the sperm whale. But how does the sperm whale compare to the other giants of the ocean? Does he have them all beat out? Or does he have a challenger you wouldn't expect? One packaged in a unique frame. Sperm whales. Sperm whales are very well known throughout the world, and they do have one representative who is very famous, Moby Dick. That's right, the scary whale from the book was a sperm whale. The reason the sperm whale was depicted as a monster in that book is because they can be violent and aggressive. Not usually with humans, more so with other animals of the sea. The sperm whale grows to about 67 feet long and weighs 56 tons. It is the third largest whale in the world, also making it the third largest animal in the world. The only two whales larger than the sperm whale are baleen whales, making Moby Dick the largest toothed whale and thus the largest predator in the entire world. They're not all brawn though. They also have the largest brains in the world, weighing about 17 pounds. This is partially due to the fact that they have enormous heads, about 1/3 of their entire body size. The sperm whale isn't a particularly fast swimmer, but he is a deep diver. Over 7,000 feet deep he can go, the third deepest diver in the world. And he can hold his breath underwater for up to 138 minutes, meaning you could start and finish most movies in the time he was holding his breath. Sperm whales use their large heads as battering rams when need be, and their tails are extremely powerful too, able to kill some sea creatures with one heavy whack. Not to mention that sperm whales use echolocation and produce a clicking sound that is so loud, so intense, it is not only louder than a ton of dynamite going off, but if you were so unfortunate to be in the water with it, it potentially would not only blow your eardrums, but it could vibrate your body to death. In addition to the deadly click, sperm whales are extremely strong, especially the males who grow the largest. Outside of the mating season, the males live solitary lives, but the females and the young stay together in groups. But just how strong are these males? Stronger than other whales of the ocean? Humpback whales. Another one of the largest whales in the world, ranking in at about 6th largest, would be a very common whale, the humpback whale. Humpback whales are 52 feet long and weigh over 30 tons. For a visual representation, take 3 sedans and park them back to back. That's the length of a humpback whale. Now grab 12 more sedans for a total of 15 and plop them on the scale, same weight. These are the whales that whale watchers commonly see jumping above the surface of the water and splashing down with such force. A humpback whale is not a toothed whale like the sperm whale is. Rather, they are baleen whales. They aren't hunting for food like the sperm whale. Instead, they're using their baleen to do lots of filter feeding. But don't let the teeth fool you. Humpbacks are still extremely strong, especially with their tails. Their tail, also called a fluke, can generate a force of 40 tons with one single slap. No one wants that thing coming down on them. And humpback whales are constantly breaching the surface, which is why whale watchers love them. But why? Well, it's the tail. They don't have to dive deep first to jump up above the surface of the water. They can do so from just below the surface. All it takes is 2 swipes of their tail to catapult them out of the water and into the air. Now that is a powerful tail, and though that's some impressive strength, they still are not quite as strong as a sperm whale. The sperm whale features strength not just with his backside, but with his enormous head too. He's bigger, heavier, and he's a hunter, meaning he needs to possess more strength. But the humpback has him beat in the breaching game. Grey whales. The grey whale is the epitome of the expression, "Don't express my kindness for weakness." They are known as one of the friendliest whales in the oceans, often coming up to boats and curiously looking on to see the passengers. But you do not want to upset a grey whale. They earned the nickname devilfish because when whalers would hunt them, they'd immediately turn violent. Yes, Moby Dick gave Captain Ahab and his crew a lot of problems, but grey whales have been just as aggressive. Many times when harpooned by whalers, grey whales will immediately turn and ferociously attack, destroying boats and killing many of those who first tried to kill them. They are extremely strong. In fact, their Latin name is Eschristius robustus, and robustus literally means strong. Their strength is obviously showcased when they fight back against would-be hunters, but also in terms of their endurance. They hold the record for longest migrations in the world, traveling 14,000 miles round trip. So the grey whale travels really far, and the sperm whale dives really deep. These are both some big distance travelers. And the grey whale, like the humpback and the sperm whale, he is another one of the top 10 biggest whales in the world. However, he's slightly shorter in length than the humpback, about 49 feet long. But that humpback that weighed 30 tons, well, the grey whale weighs 40 tons. A few feet shorter and 33% heavier, that's some body mass that holds a lot of power right there. The grey whale definitely has a different body type than the sperm whale, more bulky and robust, but the sperm whale is longer and heavier. His weight is more evenly distributed, so he has a different kind of power, but he's still stronger. Grey whales react to being hunted and explode with their strength, but the sperm whale, the hunter, he is always ready to show off his power. Don't forget about that big head of his that can do some extreme damage, even to the robust grey whale that's only 18 feet shorter in length. Fin whales. Alright, so the sperm whale is stronger than all these whales that he's bigger than. What about the whales that are bigger than him? We know the sperm whale is the third largest, so let's meet the fin whale, the second largest whale in the world. Picture a semi-truck towing a sedan. Now take that impressive length from the tip of the truck to the back of the car, all 90 feet, and replace it with a 72-ton whale. That's what you're dealing with a fin whale. 23 feet longer than the sperm whale, but only 16 tons more in weight. The fin whale is a slimmer whale. That makes for a speedy whale, as far as whales go. The sperm whale is typically cruising between speeds of 5 and 9 miles per hour, but when hunting can hit speeds of 19 miles per hour. The fin whale can sustain speeds of 23 miles per hour for long periods of time, and can even move at 29 miles per hour in short bursts. The fin whale has been nicknamed the Greyhound of the Sea, as it is the fastest of the great whales. That tail is so powerful, propelling them so quickly through the water. But it's a different kind of power. Power that makes them speedy, and though they are strong, that slimmer shape has them pale in comparison to the sperm whale when it comes to that pound-for-pound strength. However, the fin whale is so much larger that it is technically stronger. The fin whale is a baleen whale though, so if the two were to battle, the sperm whale being a toothed whale, and with his powerful bite, he would absolutely do some damage. Blue whale. We met the second largest whale, so now it's time for the largest, the blue whale. Everyone knows this is the largest whale that lives today, and many know it is the largest animal that lives today. But did you know it is the largest animal that has ever lived? Just think of that. You live at the same time as the biggest animal ever, and he is a behemoth. Remember riding the school bus to school? Imagine your school bus and then another school bus right on the back of it, and then a third school bus on the back of that one. That's the length of a blue whale, 100 feet. Unlike the fin whale, the blue whale is not thin for his size, 173 tons. More than twice the weight of the fin whale or any other animal. That's the same as 26 African elephants. The blue whale's tongue weighs as much as one elephant. His heart weighs as much as a gorilla. The blue whale is another baleen whale, so he does his thing, filter feeding. He isn't a hunter like the sperm whale, but he's just so big, so strong. His muscles are 12 inches thick and stretch halfway back along his body. The sperm whale could deliver a massive bite to the blue whale, but if the blue whale needed to defend himself, he could. He's the biggest animal ever. We think he'll be all right. Luckily for the sperm whale, the blue whale is never going to mess with him. So, if he just leaves Big Blue alone, he will be all right. But that isn't quite the same deal when it comes to our next whale. But who is that going to be? We already looked at all the biggest whales in the world. Who is left? Orkas. We're going to shrink down a bit more than you might have expected, because it isn't all about size. The orca, also aptly named the killer whale, another apex predator of the sea. An orca is an animal that has no natural predators. You thought a great white shark was scary? Orcas regularly dominate great whites, especially when they try to pick off the young in their pod. Orcas rip them and any sharks to shreds, and usually eat them afterwards. Orcas are usually around 27 feet long and weigh over 13,000 pounds. They are powerful animals with amazing speed, able to hit speeds of 35 miles per hour. They are highly intelligent and hunt and kill in a variety of different ways. Whatever means are necessary, that's what the orca does. So we have an apex predator in the orca and an apex predator in the sperm whale. Who is superior? Sperm whales do hunt fish and squid and sharks, and orcas do the same, sometimes picking off seals too, and other whales. Hold on, would an orca try to eat a sperm whale? Yes, a female or a young sperm whale, and they do it every so often, because an orca is not just powerful, they have the strongest bite in the world, 19,000 psi. No other animal even comes close to being able to exert that kind of force with their bite. Orcas can pick off young sperm whales and female sperm whales from time to time, inflicting damage with their massive bites and making a big meal of Moby Dick's relatives. But not Moby Dick himself. Not a full-grown, healthy male sperm whale. Though an orca has a stronger bite, and he is faster and he is strong, the full-grown male sperm whale is just stronger. They have often encountered orcas trying to take their young, and they attack, hitting with their massive heads and pinning the orcas down with their large, powerful bodies, and oftentimes killing the killer whale. So the explanation is this. An orca is stronger than a female sperm whale and a young sperm whale, and often will try to pick them off for a meal. So during the non-breeding months, that strategy works. But if the male is around, that method does not work, and the orca's attempt at setting the table for dinner might just result in the table being set for his funeral. Orcas study the calendar. Find out when the mating season is for sperm whales. Avoid those months. Don't mess with the adult male sperm whale. He will destroy you. He's the killer of killer whales.